Okay, too little iron is bad. Iron deficiency is the most common nutrient deficiency in the world. So we know that too little iron is bad. But it's not very well evaluated in my experience. I feel like even when I came out of naturopathic college, I didn't really fully understand the difference between, anemia and iron deficiency, and then the various kind of combinations that you can come with iron imbalances. Okay, so here's some key players that I didn't really know about, and you should know about. Ferritin here. Ferritin is our iron storage. This is where iron is stored, okay? Iron storage happens in ferritin. So it sort of locks it up in there in this 3+ form. And the key thing to understand here is that iron is not entirely safe. In fact, it's not at all safe to be ripping around in the cell or in the blood in free form iron form. It will cause ruckus. And to mitigate some of that ruckus, we have things like superoxide dismutase, which will decrease some of the oxidative stress. It depends on zinc and copper. Okay, another thing that we need, relating it to oxidative stress and copper is in order for iron to get out of this cell through ferroportin, ferro means iron, portin means door. So in this case, to get it out the door onto the transferrin molecule, in this case, trans means transportation, ferrin, again, FER usually means iron something. So to get it out the door onto the bus here, we need ceruloplasmin, which depends on, I believe, 6 molecules of copper. So the context of this is I'm trying more and more to understand iron. It's really, really important because we got things like oxidative stress, we got energy, we've got mood, we've got movement, we've got dopamine, we've got sleep. We've got so many things that depend on iron. So we got to get it right when it comes to iron. Excuse me. And sometimes, in addition to playing with iron, we need to play with things like zinc and ceruloplasmin. And by play with, I mean evaluate as best as we can. I often use these markers, copper and zinc, in blood tests to give me a better idea of what's going on, because we need to not only make sure we have enough iron, but we need to make sure it's kind of controlled. And just because it's relevant to this diagram here, I added hepcidin here. And hepcidin is able to close this door. So hepcidin can close the ferroportin door once it senses that we've got enough iron or we're under oxidative stress. So this is a key player in lots of people's iron issues where they have, let's say, excessive iron or too much iron, and maybe they still are not making enough blood cells, and the body will do this when it senses that we're under oxidative stress or also inflammatory stress, or perhaps in some cases pathogenic bacteria or virus. Basically, these are situations in which you do not want excess iron. Remember, excess iron is bad, right? And remember, too little iron is bad, right? So it's like Goldilocks. Everything here is Goldilocks, and these are the mechanisms that we kind of have in the cell. So don't forget, when you're looking at iron, you need to look at ferritin, we need to look at transferrin. These are key for evaluating the blood tests. And I've been doing that for about 10 years, and it's been very, very helpful. There's still some cases where it's confusing. We don't know exactly what's going on. There's some signs of oxidative stress. The person's not feeling well as you bring their iron up. Well, maybe the ferritin goes up, but the iron doesn't seem to be being released. Well, that's where things like copper come into play, and then always zinc, because these are the things that help mitigate the risks of having too much iron, too mobilized in too many tissues. Okay, so I hope that helps you understand why you need a comprehensive iron panel when you get your blood test done, okay? So that's not just iron, that's not just hemoglobin. Remember, hemoglobin's not enough. You need hemoglobin, but you need ferritin and total iron binding capacity. And I would say now, the more I know, we need to make sure that we're testing zinc and we're testing copper.